So my name is Lucy Oboka, and I'm from South Sudan, but I was born and grew up in Kenya. And how did I become a PhD candidate? Well, after my master program, which I did the advanced master in international children's rights here at Leiden, and after the advanced master program, I was doing a few internships, and there was a lot of themes and topics that I was interested in during the internships. But I was also interested in the research related to those topics. So that was in, transitional justice as well as child participation. And so those kind of combined together to inspire me to think about doing more research in this area. And so when I had the idea to do a research on, child participation in peace building processes, I reached out to my master's thesis supervisor here at Leiden, and she was very supportive in helping me, find an appropriate position. So she shared with me the vacancy for the Maya's PhD program. And that's when I got started on the application process, and she then helped me with developing my proposal, and then we brought on board one of the professors from the department as well, and then together we kind of developed a proposal and submitted the application. So when I came into the advanced master program, I didn't think that I wanted to do a PhD, but studying in the advanced master kind of opened opened my mind a little bit more. Then I could think about, and I could see more options of, where I could take my career, because initially I studied law and I thought, okay, it's just like a one straight line path towards becoming a lawyer. But when I then started the advanced masters, we also engage and interact with a lot of different professionals, and you also engage with a lot of PhDs here at Leiden, for example. And so you start to get ideas of what more you can do beyond just, legal practice. And I found that my interests lied better in research. And that was also more evident after I started doing my master's thesis. I really had really great guidance from my supervisor then, and who I wrote to apply for a PhD position. So it was really, engaging with different professionals, but also engaging with PhDs, and also just having the support and guidance from my supervisor and from a lot of the professors on here that really kind of, makes you think, okay, it's a possibility for me to also do a PhD. And I think also the engagement with alumni afterwards, because after graduating, then I was not in Leiden anymore, but I could still reach out to my supervisor and get more information on, what are options or what is available to be able to proceed with doing a PhD. And so that worked out and brought me back to Leiden. It's on children's role in peace building. So I look at how children and young people can contribute to the peace building process. And so in terms of that, I engage with government to understand, okay, so what's the government doing, and if they're engaging them in any sense, and then also from a different perspective from like organizations, how are local organizations working with children and young people in the community to help them understand the peace process, because you have the formal process, of course, but that never engages with everybody. So then it's how do you bring the process to the people, and then how do you engage local communities in terms of building peace amongst themselves, because oftentimes you can have peace at the government level, but then it doesn't go down into the community. And so then I try to understand how to build it from the community coming up to meet the process at the top level. In that sense, my interest is in also how are kids and youth brought into that. So yes, so for my PhD research, part of it is empirical research, and I was then able to do some fieldwork on South Sudan, because then my topic is looking at South Sudan as a case study. So earlier this year, in between February and May, I spent 4 months in South Sudan doing a lot of interviews and focus groups. It was really a nice experience, I think, to be able to be there and to, talk to people that are, doing actual work in the field and learn what's going on. It's very easy to read or see on the news, usually negative stuff, but it's when you're there, then you also see there's little pockets of hope and a few positive and enthusiastic people, just working through difficulties. to make things better, just for this situation of the country, but also to engage with children and address, their issues in this current peace building phase, but also, just also make them feel like they're being heard. And so that was also very inspiring for me in my research. It didn't just give me data, but it also gave me kind of more drive to come back and finish my research. Well, a memorable challenge or experience for my research so far was, I think, also recently, just when I was back home for fieldwork. And it was also a nice opportunity to really just be home and to be with my family. So in a sense, I was doing research, but I was also, just having family time. And so it also gave me an opportunity to speak more to my parents. Growing up, my dad wasn't always home because he had to travel for work a lot, and because we lived in Kenya, but then he couldn't work in Kenya, so he was often back in Sudan during the war and things like that. But now this really gave us extensive time together, and we got talking, and I could learn more about just his life and his childhood. And it was I think the most inspiring thing was for me that he told me that about his first memory of war coming into the country, and that was from when he was 4 years old. And it really was just like a journey of a lot of hardships, I think, for a 4-year-old kid. And he always keeps saying for him, he thought, okay, that when he grows up and he has children, that will he hopes you have the hope that everything you do or the work you contribute to promoting peace in your country in your own capacity will lead to peace for your children and for future generations. But it's now many years later, and it's still the same scenario. So obviously there's the continuing cycle of conflict, and so that also kind of just reinforced or reiterated to me why I keep doing this research, is also because I've been seeing the cycles of conflict in my lifetime, but my dad has seen it in his whole lifetime, and that's really many years. I think it's important to have this to try and stop that cycle. And I think that's maybe the most memorable thing for me, was really learning that story. It's a story I never heard, but it was necessary to hear it now. So I haven't really thought solidly about what I want to do after my PhD. I think the one thing that I really want to do is to make the thesis that I write very actionable. So I want to make it useful to the people in South Sudan, but also I think in a world where there is increasingly conflict, that we also have to start thinking about peace building in the future. And I think that this is maybe a tool that could be used there. If we do the research now, then we don't have to be doing it later on as we're trying to build peace, but then we have the information and try to implement it in different contexts. So whilst my thesis is focused on South Sudan, it's still relevant for a lot of different other contexts, and I would like to see how to make that actionable, maybe work with different organizations or with government in South Sudan, because then you can really see how it can best fit the context and take it from just being theoretical to actually being a thing that can be useful. For future students that want to pursue a career in international children's rights, I think a word of advice would be that it's okay to find your niche and to find the area that you're interested in, but I think it's also important to stay with an open mind, because children's rights is quite broad and a lot of the topics and themes are very interconnected, and I think it's relevant to solve all the different issues that exist in the world. Find your niche and specialize, but also stay interested in what the other areas of children's rights and what's going on. And I think the importance of that is also having networks. So if you're a student in the advanced master, keep the networks, because your classmates are your future networks in different contexts, but also in different areas of children's rights. And so to keep those connections going in order to be able to just grow the field as well.